And I want to thank all of you for coming out here tonight to celebrate my father's legacy and the man voted as the top quarterback in college football for 2022, Texas Christian University, Max Duggan. The Golden Arm Award was started in 1987 by my father's coach, college coach, a guy by the name of Frank Gitcher, who has since passed away. And he thought it would be a good idea to elevate the position of quarterback with the legacy of my father. So they started that back in '87, and I took it over in '90 and reincorporated it as a 501c3 educational foundation, which it wasn't, and brought in a few controls from the brand standpoint and my father's image standpoint. And since then, we've grown it, building a sponsor base. We have some tremendous sponsors. A.O. Smith is our premier and presenting sponsor. We have Dunbar Armored, a lot of local sponsorships here that people love the game of football. They love our mission, which is to give back to graduating high school scholar athletes, moving on to college to play football, but more importantly, to get their education. And that's what we're all about.
Remember those characteristics of a champion that I mentioned earlier? The singleness of purpose, the unselfishness, the toughness, the intelligence, and the never quit attitude? Yes, what I learned so long ago has stood the test of time and still makes football the greatest team sport ever invented. I ask myself every year as a member of the selection committee, as we cast our ballots for the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, which young man is worthy of wearing those signature high-top black cleats? The Latin phrase e pluribus unum means out of many, one. And there's only one quarterback in the country who could wear the black high tops this year, and that's Max Duggan, the quarterback with the golden heart, the golden heart.
Here you go.
The right size?
Yes, sir. This is awesome. Thank you very much. This is so cool.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, sir.
Let's go check him out. Ray Lewis was up 2 years ago when he retired.
Okay.
And you notice on my father's right foot there, that toe, everybody that walks down
Yep.
here.
He innovated the passing game, passing before,
Everybody.
Passing was even, thought, like heard of, the old 2-minute drill, things of that
was his
sort of,
deal.
being invented. Like no one, it was never a thing. My dad always talked about
I'll tell you,
trying to move the ball so quickly, throwing the ball, and it was like absurd.
back then that's because they ran all the time.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you gotta exploit
exactly.
defenses.
Yes, sir.
Every Monday morning after they played Sunday, Max, he would be down in his basement in the den, and he'd have a projector. The projector, 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
And he'd have the film of the team that they're playing this coming week that they played last week. Say the Detroit Lions and the Packers, and they were playing the Packers. So my father, and we were little kids, so he had this control, and it only went forward and reverse. It didn't stop. So we would sit on his lap for we lasted 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Or so, and we say, my father would say, okay, forward. We go forward. We reverse. He said, we had enough. We leave. But that's how my father did it.
Yeah.
He had his playbook there and everything. And Raymond, Jimmy, all of his players did the same thing. And then when they came out to practice, Max, that's what they practiced. Everything, they were all on the same page.
It's awesome.
You can't lose.
Johnny Unitas was the first to deploy the 2-minute drill. A.O. Smith was the first to develop the glass-lined steel tank. Johnny Unitas was the first to play 47 consecutive games with at least one touchdown. A.O. Smith was the first to launch a commercial water heater with a helical heat exchanger to deliver maximum hot water at the lowest possible cost. Johnny Unitas was the first to play 4 consecutive games with a 120 passer rating. A.O. Smith was the first to launch a truly comprehensive, high-efficiency product line featuring standard technologies, tankless, heat pump, and solar. Good things happen when 2 pioneering innovative spirits come together. A.O. Smith is proud to sponsor the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award.
Well, he was chosen by my selection committee. I don't make the choices. We just evaluate them beginning of the year, what they do off the field, what their characters are like, what their family situations are like. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there, a lot of different divisions, a lot of leagues, and we start off with trying to be as fair as we can and bring as many of them into the fold as nominees for the award. And as we continue to pare them down, we can continue to watch them play and continue to see what they do off the field. And we keep in touch with their schools. And at the end of the day, I provide this information to our selection committee and they make that decision. Now, my selection committee knows my father. They know who he was, what he did, and what he stood for the game of football. So therefore, I trust them. And they've gotten it right every single year. And I'm just very proud of them.
Well, I'm really excited for Max. I think he's very deserving. I think he is, as I said, he's somebody who embodies what you want a college football player to have, those characteristics. He's incredibly competitive, he's tough physically, he's tough mentally. He raises the level of expectations and play for everybody around him. He's a great leader, he's incredibly unselfish. He's obviously a very, very good football player as well. So he's been a very valuable asset to our program, and we're very blessed that he is here at TCU, and I'm very blessed I get a chance to coach him and be around him every day, because he makes me want to be a better coach, and I think that's one of the highest compliments you can give somebody.
I am very fortunate every day to get to go to work and to be around somebody that does. Max Duggan, what he stands for, what he does, what he's meant to our football program, it's really difficult to put into words. When I have an opportunity to sit here and see these photographs of Johnny Unitas, it makes me think of Max. It truly does. I think of somebody who puts the team in front of themselves. I think Max does that better than anybody I've ever been around. It's always about the team, it's never about Max. And those of you that have had an opportunity to interact with him, you can see that pretty easily.
Yeah, I think that they're worried about their teammates. I think that Max is one of those guys who cares more about the team, cares more about the guys that he goes to work with every day, probably more than he does himself. I think that was indicative of Johnny Unitas' spirit. I've heard stories about Johnny Unitas' leadership, his selflessness, and his desire to do anything to help the team to win, and Max certainly does that for us.
Right now, I'd like to have John and Coach Dykes present the 2022 Golden Arm Award to TCU quarterback Max Duggan. Gentlemen.
Congratulations, Max. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
When I think of Johnny Unitas, I think of someone that's competitive, is tough, is gritty, a great leader, and loves his teammates. I think you saw that when he played, of how he acted as a person and as a player. I think they're great traits of a person.
I'm incredibly honored to be able to stand up here. I'm appreciative, to receive this prestigious award. I couldn't have done it with anybody, teammates, coaches, all of that. But I'm honored to stand up here and be a part of Johnny Unitas' legacy. Just talking about what Johnny Unitas did and how much football meant to him and his family in this city, and I think it really hits hard with me. Less about the football, less about the the stats and all things of that sort, but what he did to rally a city, to have a lot of pride of a city, of one team and one man, to go out there and compete, give his all. Doesn't matter if it's putting his body on the line, any things of that sort. But he knew what his job was to do, and he wanted to make the most of it. He wanted to make a city and a fan base proud of the product that he was putting out there, and a team that they could call theirs. So it's something that I still try to work for to this day, to try to be more like Johnny Unitas, continuing to fight, continuing to lead, just be a complete team player. So with all of this, it means so much to me to be standing up here and receive this, to continue to represent and have pride of Johnny Unitas' legacy, to share this with my coaches, my family, Fort Worth and TCU, my teammates at home. I know they're watching, so it just means so much to me, and I'm super honored to be in this position, so thank you guys.
I think what I see in Max today is a genuine human being. he cares. He loves the game of football. He loves the practice. He loves the game. He loves the people that he works with. He actually, just so you know, he goes to his reserve players and makes sure they're okay. I mean, there's no quarterback that does that. There's no person that really does that. They care about themselves most of the time. But the quarterback is the leader. He's got to be aloof. He can't be very close to some of the players, like the offensive lineman or the defensive lineman. The quarterback has to stay aloof. So I look at Max like my father, high threshold of pain. He's a winner, and he cares about his teammates, and he works hard at his craft. So that's why Max Duggan is the 2022 Golden Arm winner.